Hey everyone, so today we're going to dive into something you've probably used a million times in JavaScript, the logical operators or, and not. But what if I told you they have a secret life? Yeah, a really powerful set of features that go way beyond just simple true or false. Let's unlock those secrets together. So, to get us warmed up, take a look at this. I've got a question for you. What do you think this little bit of code is going to display? Now, if you're thinking true or false, you might be in for a surprise. Keep that answer in your head, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what's going on here. Here's the game plan. First, we'll uncover the big twist that makes JavaScript's logic so special. Then, we're going to break down OR, and not one by one. And to wrap it all up, we'll get into the order of operations and some pretty slick tricks you can use to write cleaner code. All right, let's jump right in. Time to pull back the curtain on the fundamental twist that makes these logical operators so incredibly useful. We're about to go way beyond the simple world of true and false. And here it is, the absolute core concept. See, in a lot of other languages, these operators are strictly for Booleans, but not in JavaScript. Oh no. Here, you can throw any data type you want at them. Numbers, strings, objects, you name it. And the result you get back isn't always just true or false. To get this, you have to understand truthy and falsy. Basically, only a few values in JavaScript are considered falsy. That's false, the number 0, an empty string, null, undefined, and nan. Literally everything else is truthy. Burn that into your brain because it's the key to everything else we're about to cover. So let's kick things off with the OR operator. I like to call this one the backup plan operator. It's absolutely perfect for when you need to find the first good option from a list of possibilities. And here's where it gets really different. In classic programming, OR just gives you true if anything is true. Simple. But JavaScript's OR is on a mission. It's hunting for the very first truthy value it can find. And when it does, it returns that original value exactly as it is. So here's how it works under the hood. JavaScript just scans your values from left to right. For each one, it asks, hey, are you truthy? The absolute moment it gets a yes, it stops right there and returns that value. It's like a race to the first winner. But what if it never finds a winner? Well, this example shows you exactly that. Undefined, falsy. Null, falsy. 0, also falsy. So after checking everything and coming up empty, the OR operator just kind of shrugs and gives you back the very last thing it looked at, which in this case is 0. Now this is where the OR operator is a real superstar. Imagine you need to show a user's name, but you're not sure if you have their first name or last name. You can just chain them all together with OR. JavaScript checks first name, it's empty, falsy. Checks last name, also empty, falsy. Then it gets to nickname, which has a value, that's truthy. So it immediately stops and returns supercoder. It's such a clean and elegant way to set up default values. You know, this behavior actually has a technical name. It's called short circuit evaluation. The second OR finds what it's looking for, that first truthy value, it just stops. It doesn't even bother looking at the rest of the chain. This makes it super efficient, and you can do some really clever things with it. Okay, let's switch gears to our next operator, AND. If OR is the backup plan, then AND is the super strict gatekeeper. It will stop everything at the very first sign of trouble. Just like with OR, the JavaScript version of AND is, well, it's special. Traditionally, AND only returns true if all its inputs are true. But JavaScript AND does the exact opposite of OR. It searches for the first falsy value and returns that original falsy value. The algorithm is basically a mirror image of OR's. It scans from left to right, but this time it's on the lookout for the first falsy value. As soon as it hits one, boom, it stops and returns that value. And if it manages to get through the whole list and everything's truthy, well then it just returns the very last one. This right here is the gatekeeper concept in action. The code checks 1, that's truthy, so the gate stays open. It checks 2, also truthy, we're still good. Then it hits null, that's a falsy value. Bam, the gate slams shut. The AND operator stops cold and returns null. It never ever even looks at the 3. So let's just boil it all down to this one crucial difference. OR looks for the first sign of success, the first truthy thing. AND looks for the first sign of failure, the first falsy thing. If you can remember that, you've totally got this. Now for our third operator, NOT, which is just an exclamation mark. This one is way simpler, but trust me, it has a very neat trick up its sleeve. Let's call it the quick flip. The not operator is super straightforward. It takes any value, converts it to its pure Boolean form, and then just flips it. So not true becomes false. And since the number 0 is a falsy value, not 0 becomes true. See? Simple as that. Okay, now for a really cool trick that pro developers use all the time. What happens when you use two not operators back to back? Well, the first one flips the Boolean value, and the second one immediately flips it right back. The end result is a super fast, clean way to convert any value into its true Boolean equivalent. So triple null becomes false, and triple non-empty string becomes true. It's a fantastic little shortcut. Alright, we figured out the rules for or, and not on their own. For our final section, let's see how they all play together when you mix them up in the same expression. So just like how multiplication comes before addition in math, these logical operators have their own order of operations. It's called precedence. As you can see, not always gets evaluated first. It's the highest priority. Then comes and finally, at the bottom of the list is or. This is absolutely critical to know when you're trying to figure out a complex logical statement. So you know what that means. Time for a little pop quiz. Take a look at this expression on the screen. Null, or 2, and 3, or 4. Using everything we've just learned about how each operator works and their order of precedence, what do you think the final result is going to be? Pause for a second if you need to think about it. And the answer is 3. Let's walk through it together. Because and has higher precedence than or, the 2 and 3 part gets evaluated first. Since both 2 and 3 are truthy, the and operator returns the last value, which is 3. So our expression now looks like this: null, or 3, or 4. Now the or operator takes over. It looks at null, that's falsy. It moves on to the next one, 3. Hey, that's truthy. So it short circuits and immediately returns 3. So let's just do a super quick recap. Remember, the OR operator is your go-to for finding the first truthy value. The AND operator is for finding the first falsy value. Not is just a simple inverter. And the double not, well, that's our awesome shortcut for converting anything to a true Boolean. And that's a wrap. We have officially unlocked the hidden power of JavaScript logical operators. They're not just for if statements anymore. They are seriously powerful tools for writing short, clean, and really elegant code. So the question I'll leave you with is, how are you going to use these new patterns to level up your own projects? I'm excited to see what you build. Happy coding!